wonderful, lovely people. Welcome to the December 2014 Creative Collab Night. This is sponsored by two lovely organizations. Thank you to Good Beans for hosting, along with Good Beans, and also the Creative Alliance. Thank you, Creative Alliance. Let's do that. Dancing or something. Alright, so we have some lovely acts for you for tonight, and it's going to be fun, I hope. So, we have some history in the house, and we have some poetry in the house, and we have some music. We have some really good drums. Thank you very much, Kristen. Yeah, so, he'll warm us up, and then we'll get going.
Who's next?
Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for that lovely, wonderful percussion. So, if we're going to dive into our first of the acts, we would welcome Gary Flynn to the stage. Thank you, sir. Warm welcome and applause for everybody.
Thank you. I'm going to read a piece that I wrote back in 2008 about this time of year. Now, during the course of my reading of my piece, some photos and a drawing will be passed along, which describe the material that I'll be reading from this piece. This was originally published in the December 2008 issue of Your Magazine, which was published by the Flint Journal. Now, unlike my last piece, which I also wrote for Your Magazine, which I was able to make major revisions. In fact, last Monday's Creative Alliance show, which aired on Comcast Channel 17, had the collab night from 2 months ago in October. So I edited down my segment and put it on YouTube and put a link to it in my Facebook page for my book, Remembering Flint, Michigan. So you can either go on YouTube and look up the October Collab Night with my name, Gary Flynn, or go to the Remembering Flint, Michigan Facebook page with the link to my piece. Now, unlike the last piece, this piece, because it is true history, is still titled in Flint Journal copyright, so unless a miracle happens and the Flint Journal grants permission, or MLive Media Group now grants permission, it won't be the next piece. So if someone wants to say, hey, Gary Flynn wrote some nice pieces in Your Magazine and the Flint Journal, but the title in Flint Journal copyright, now MLive Media Group, you could probably contact MLive Media Group in Grand Rapids, that's where they're headquartered, and ask, can you grant permission for Gary Flynn to reuse the material for his next book? I thank you very much. Now, here's the article called Christmas Past in Flint. The Christmas season in Flint has always been a special time of year. Early in the 20th century, the original Flint's Vehicle City arches were fitted with multicolored lights for the holiday season. downtown was the focal point of Christmas celebrating and shopping into the 1970s when Christmas shopping started shifting to the suburban malls. Downtown businesses were lavishly decorated and had their stores stocked for the holiday gift-giving season. The year 1913 was significant for Christmas celebrating. Then Mayor Charles Stewart Mott introduced the first municipal Christmas tree at City Hall and was able to get every church in the city represented for the ceremony. While the Smith Bridges store, among others, heavily promoted their Christmas gift selection, one surprising historical discovery was that Carlton's, which was better known as a downtown office supply store, also had a toy department for Christmas. Smith Bridgman's, as the largest department store in the city, had lavish Christmas displays both inside and outside, including an award-winning decorated facade in 1940. It was the traditional place for the children to see Santa Claus. Of course, where Smith Bridgman's now is the downtown flatland. Flint was a fast-growing city in the automotive industry, as the automotive industry was attracting many new residents. But with the growth came growing pains. The community decided on a way to help unfortunate families during the holiday season. In 1911, the Flint Journal spearheaded the organization of the Goodfellows Charity, whose purpose was to make sure no child was forgotten in Flint on Christmas Day. The Goodfellows evolved in 1924 into the Old Newsboys of Flint, which continues to make sure that children and underprivileged families enjoy Christmas gifts. The symbol of the movement is a 1906 drawing of a weeping little girl holding an empty stocking in a grimly finished room titled Forgotten by the Detroit cartoonist Thomas May. The movement was inspired by the Old Newsboys Goodfellows organization in Detroit. Another Flint holiday tradition began in 1937 when Citizens Bank held its first Christmas Carol sing in its main office downtown. I wonder if First Merit Bank continues their tradition today. That's just a rewrite just to make it updated. In the 1960s, Christmas decorating downtown reached its literal zenith with two towering Christmas ornaments high above two intersections along Saginaw Street at Kersley Street and 2nd Street. Looking at the old photos, one wonders how the ornament was raised so high. The secret still exists at the intersection of Saginaw and 2nd, as a high wire is still strung from the former Woolworths building at the northwest corner and the drive-in building on the southeast corner. In 1953, another Christmas tradition began to officially end the holiday season. On the traditional 12th night, January 6th, Christmas trees, which were gathered in Kersley Park, were burned in a series of bonfires called the Burnings of the Greens. January 6th also marks the Christian festival of Epiphany. There were two purposes to the burning of the green ceremony. Along with a colorful tradition, it also provided a safe and efficient means for the community to dispose of its Christmas greenery. There were 16 burnings of the greens beginning in 1953. In 1954, there was a debate as to which chemical to use to enhance the display of the flames. Calcium chloride was used in 1954, which produced an orange flame. Other chemicals used to enhance fires are copper sulfate, which produces a green flame, and nitrate, which produces a red flame. The 1954 burning of the greens attracted a crowd of 3,000, watching more than 2,000 trees burn. In 1967, high winds delayed the burning of the greens until January 9th. Christmas carols were sung by local children before the fires were set, and in 1969, there was a fireworks display, a pageant about Christmas traditions and caroling. During the final burning of the greens on January 6, 1970, more than 7,000 trees were burned. The tradition ended after the city air pollution control ordinance was enacted in April of 1970. It was estimated that in the 17 years the burning of the greens was held, 125,000 trees were burned. Trees that the city collected after Christmas in 1970 went through the chipper.
Right.
All right.
Kind of makes you wonder if that's where the fire thing came from, you know, just generation after generation of people interested in fire.
Yeah, that was a nice way to cap off the Christmas season.
Yeah.
Did you ever go see them?
I did when I was a child, yes.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting event with the bonfires and all the caroling, and it was a joyous occasion. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Please, everybody, let's give him a hand. So speaking of warm festivities and fire, just that specific thing, I will have like some announcements popping in and out throughout the evening, and this is one of them. So brace yourselves. Right. Yeah. Okay. So this Sunday, at the end of Walnut off of Robert T, there will be fireside performance storytelling by Flynn Bedouin Tent, which I do. So essentially we're going to have a fire, and we're going to have the tent pitched. We'll have hot chocolate, and around the fire we will have 1 or 2 performance storytellers, and if anybody else wants to share their stories, they're more than welcome, because that's what gathering around the fire can be for sometimes. In addition to enjoying the crackling of the flames, and what other better time than summer. I'm going to consider incorporating winter solstice, because that will be winter solstice. So this will also be in celebration of winter solstice, and what better way than
dress like a witch.
No, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, dress like a witch and read the scary stories.
I mean, well, if you're gonna have a story with a witch,
Well, I usually dress like one anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
5 to 7. So, fireside performance storytelling at the end of Walnut, off of Robert T. 5 to 7. See you there. Speaking of which, poetry may also be read there. And speaking of poetry, our next wonderful, lovely performer will probably not have as many gestures because I have hypergesture activity syndrome. Please give it up for Alex. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Okay. How's it going?
Great, yeah.
Good, Alex.
We got 4 brand new poems.
Yeah.
The predicament of the American consumer. At a small table inside the Barnes & Noble cafe, I sit alone with my pocket notebook after a failed attempt at a poem. It didn't have a topic, and so no matter how fancy it was, it conjured no acquired space for the reader to wander inside of. I glance at a pastry display case from the side, at the little lumps of edible material, unable to distinguish one item from another, or see the letters of the price signs that mark each row. From this angle, someone from a third world country probably wouldn't even know that he is looking at food, and not pocketbooks, wallets, and purses of maybe compact and modern types, where a raisin on an oatmeal raisin cookie could be mistaken for a dark gem or some sort of button. These types of glances weigh across, like the predicament of the American consumer, dizzy, deceived by what he can't quite see, at least not at the present moment. And I sit here, unable to pretend that I am not anxious, half an hour before work, before the night shift, as I cram the space I can't quite see in between the surreptitious ache and silent bash, the fixation of a brain that will never be quenched or left alone.
Yeah.
Moving on. The thrill of guilt. Within my 6 years of taking Spanish from high school on into college, the vocabulary list did not come with a key or a handy list master. I remember the brevity of textbook paper swept up into an odorless nothing, The facility that brushed between page and pointer finger was not given the chance to form. It didn't take much to steady out above failure with a D-. The thrill of guilt kept me there, idle, yet aware that I should be studying. A decade later, I am in Puerto Rico, and the menu at the bakery might as well be in Latin. Almost as a protest against my own laziness, I did not bring a Spanish-English dictionary with me on the trip. Meanwhile, in the hot dust of the third world, a young African girl in her school uniform speaks to the American journalist. She assures the American public that the obvious message is indeed correct. All children should have access to education. She articulates herself in English, and with a careful consideration, the footage of the school children depicts their fascination with the textbook itself. It appears that as long as the book is preserved, the knowledge will thrive. As their little fingers swarm around the illustrations on its cover, it's prelude to more and more wonder. Crazy man. He was not thunderously alive with bells and rainbow ribbons. He was not funny or awkward or ridiculous or special. I cannot speak as to his character. What was left, you might ask? You might be able to tell from my tone that there was a certain severity in this moment when I sat down across from him thinking that I was about to enter a somewhat interesting conversation. A young, unassuming black man and myself. We were located in a psych ward that did not let its patients go outside during any part of the day. Maybe now you are pondering something that resembles the timelessness of the gut, something like the beauty of an old house in a state of decay. These exact words serve as a preservation of something I know, yet will never be able to express completely. As a poet, I seek to preserve the moment and tap the drum of intense focus. I cannot speak as to the power of this man. Maybe one day in the past he possessed something loud and blood red. Maybe he said something no one had ever said before and surrendered himself to the fact of his theory. I had no idea, because whatever it was that made this man who he was also erased his ability to form words. As a thought escalated to the bottom of his throat and disappeared inside its own effort, he looked me in the eyes and smiled. So I'm often comparing myself to people that I knew in the past. So, I have people that even if I didn't quite know them very well, who they are sticks with me in my mind, and I am comparing myself to them. So this is the person in this poem that I compare myself to is someone that I knew in high school, and I knew him as being, not a success. And so I thought that, like, I would think of him whenever I had doubts about myself. Well, at least I'm not. But I don't know.
Yeah. Could be worse.
It turned So Dylan Markey, I looked him up on the internet, and he's a brilliant and successful animator.
Wow.
So it changes things a little bit.
Yeah, so there's hope for all of us.
The Dylan Markey effect. Dylan Markey was right, or at least there was a rightness as to how Dylan carried on. Sitting in the desk chair at the very back of the classroom, Dylan apparently is doodling in his textbook. Dylan did not bring this upon himself, missing assignments, not caring. Dylan says that his foster parents don't give a shit about him. Dylan says that anarchy and disorder could eventually lead to a utopia where everyone smokes pot and listens to Nirvana. Dylan coined the term prep jock dork, Or at least I was in the vicinity of Dylan when he said that once. Anyway, there were a couple guys who seemed somewhat prep jock dork-ish, and I decided to no longer approve of them just because of Dylan and his attitude about those who are included or something. For over a decade of my adult life, I ended up just doing whatever in my parents' house, just writing or whatever. I tell you, I would have gotten off my ass and maybe gotten out of that house, but Dylan was not stupid. Dylan just didn't have it in him. Dylan did not fail. In a world as obviously fucked up as this one, the only failures are the ones who conform, or maybe act on their conformity, or maybe just act, or something. Anyway, all of this was not Dylan's fault, but there was something about a situation where it could be Dylan's quote-unquote fault. Never mind, because Dylan doesn't mind or bother. Well, Dylan does mind, but only if you expect him to act like anyone else would, as in someone else did. Dylan asks a question Dylan would rather not answer. Why does everyone do that? I'm sorry, Dylan. Why does everyone do what? Thanks.
Photographers, collaborators for the Creative Alliance publication Voices, which will be published sometime at the end of or after March of 2015. So, in relation to that, another announcement, the CA is also going to have some community art and writing workshops as a part of Voices this year. There will be 3 of them, one in January, one in February, and one in March, and they'll be featured in an online leaflet that will be available at the CA Facebook page. So like the Greater Flint Creative Alliance, if you haven't done so, for following updates on the group that does this thing. So with that, we have some music. Please welcome Tom to the stage. Yeah. None of you would like this anyway, so Jenny, I'll begin to talk about the Flint Song Contest, which is Jenny's baby. In addition to, the videotaping and the filming of the CA show, which will be on Comcast Channel 17, Monday nights at 6. You should check that out, because she's really good with this and she's very passionate about it. So
you're probably on it.
Yeah, if you want to know what's going on in Flint, that will tell you what happens in Flint. Yes. And it's not always the way it's portrayed in the news.
It's not murder when people say. No. I mean, pardon me, but that's kind of a bit stereotypical.
We will not rob you.
Yeah.
We're also poor.
None of us have any money, so that's why we're just, well, I ain't got any money anyways.
The Flint Song Contest. So, you guys, if you want to write a Flint song, a song inspired by Flint as you see it, if you would like to serenade your hometown and tell it how much you love it and see if you know that it's, 1,000 white hot suns kind of beauty, then you can come up here and sing about it to everybody, and Jenny will extract the song from the clip of this thing, and she'll post it on YouTube. People can vote on it, and you have until May of 2015. The winner gets so many different things, including
diamonds, cash.
Including diamonds and cash. Not really. That'd be really cool.
That Nick is going to donate. I'm leaving that in the video too.
They get to play at Jamboree, and they get to play Aerosol and Audio. And Jenny, what else?
5 hours of studio time here to record their music. They can be on the Creative Alliance show too.
Right.
They're going to be on Kettering Radio.
Woo!
And then of course they'll be on Comcast Channel 17 and our YouTube channel.
And thank you guys for hosting us. So, yes. And are you ready, Tom?
Yeah, even though I'm punctuality.
I love this. Alexander the Great led an army of 175,000 men, all through Asia Minor and into India, and did not have a microphone. But I have a microphone just so that you guys will hear. Isn't that nice? And the Gettysburg Address has been remembered even though there was no microphone there. I love these ironies, you know. But anyway, so, okay. I gotta check on you guys for just a minute. Unbelievable. Wow. You know, you guys are in serious trouble because I'm spying on you.
NSA?
NSA, National Security Administration. You know, they just built a multi-square.
Darn, you guys are sneaky.
Well, we're very sneaky. We're spying on you at all times.
So they got a really low budget, can't even
Low budget.
buy hats.
I mean, the hats are kind of not so great, but anyway. Well, the only problem with this is sometimes I may be
We got a
spying
guy
on
that does
you.
silk screening here if you're interested.
What's that? Oh, plug it in. Plug in this. No, I don't got no twiddlers on this. Nothing to twiddle, not one single dial. Does it work? Okay. Well, this is the season of Fear Not, so I thought we good to go? We're just getting there, we're getting there. So,
Good.
okay, we'll make do one way or another. And I had a fairly clear set of intuitions a few years ago about having been a guest at one of the finest hospitality facilities of the National Socialists between June 10th and August 3rd, 1943. And was treated to the best hospitality that they could offer. And here I am. So I gotta tell you, there's something about going through your fears and not being intimidated by anybody or anything. And I'm also reminded about the, when Pink Floyd did their Division Bell tour, they were really into Stephen Hawking. I don't know if you've heard of this guy, this physicist who is almost completely like crippled or something. He's like a paraplegic or something, but he does this brilliant stuff. He talks through a device. What's this?
I was just showing you my anarchy symbol.
Anarchy. Well, yeah.
Tell us.
Anyway, one of the things that Stephen Hawking came up with was this thing about black holes. You know, black holes are supposedly the worst possible thing because if you get drawn toward a black hole, it's like a gravity like millions of times more than our Earth and everything. You get sucked in and you can't get out. But then, I mean, you're done, right? But then he posited this idea that you come out the other side into a baby universe. Fear not. And, you know, as we celebrate his birthday coming up, that was one of the things that was said at the beginning. What he went through was designed to shut him up. Did it work? No. So have courage and fear not. And this song, on a completely different subject, is about a man learning from his mistakes from a woman. He goes in with his ego on, and he thinks he can just do what he wants with this inferior, easy-to-conquer creature. And then he learns some real hard lessons. Carolyn, 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 what a pretty girl. Carolyn, 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 what a pretty girl. When I first saw you, I felt nervous. Should I look at her? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And then I looked at her, tried not to show my feelings, and saw a human being, opened and in search of her feeling. Carolyn, 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 what a human being. Don't we all want to be known for who we are, for what we feel inside? Wouldn't we all like to show self we'd like to know and throw the masks aside? Carolyn, 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 throw the masks aside. And then came disillusionment, she doesn't want to touch. Her faults are much too much, I must desert her, save my skin, and abandon her. And now the grief is tough, this is the same old stuff. I wish my heart would break and open to me my pain. Carolyn, 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 what a mirror of my soul. Don't we all want to be known for who we are, for what we feel inside? Wouldn't we all like to show the self we'd like to know and throw the masks aside? Carolyn, 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 don't leave me now. Carolyn, 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 leave if you want. Thank you. Thank you. This one is about the angels, and it's kind of a Christmas theme, only this one is just a non-Christmas angel song. Oh, angels in heaven, tally up one more drop of love for Elena, for my master, for my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, and you. Oh, angels in heaven, trickle down one more drop of love. I need it to give it to my lady, to my master, to my parents, to my siblings and you. Oh, please tell sweet wind ones, where is the heaven within me and outside? Everywhere heaven is found. Sweet winged ones, where is the heaven within me and outside? Everywhere heaven is found. And this one is has a little reference to one of my favorite cartoon characters, Popeye, who always he's down and everything is lost. He's going to get creamed and then he eats his spinach. You know, so it's called Little Train, and it was written. It's about the subway in Chicago on a holiday when there were only 2 cars in the subway. Usually there are 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever. No. Only two. Only two. Doesn't want to tune itself. Okay. Little tiny train, you disappeared and came again. You make a rolling racket and you wobble like a gander, then you slide into a tunnel just like honey and a funny little train. Little tiny train, your loss is everybody's gain. You never stay located, but the people would have hated if they paid their dimes and nickels and said, "Come and slay like pickles in a jar." Little tiny train, did they take you from your mother? You were 6 cars yesterday and you're only 2 today. You better eat your spinach, because if you don't, you're finished with the train. Little tiny train, did they take you from your mother? You were 6 cars yesterday and you're only 2 today. You better eat your spinach, because if you don't, you're finished with the train. Thank you. Have I used up my 15 minutes?
Play one of your carols from your CD.
Oh, I could
Your
do.
CDs?
Oh, yeah. If I was smart, I would have brought it along with me. I've done a whole CD of Christmas carols. I'll play about them.
And where can they email you or call you?
Yeah. Right. That's a great
Give me a
thinking.
caption.
What's that?
Give me a caption.
Yeah, okay. It's TomAllen7110@gmail.com.
Yay.
Oh.
Yeah, the .com, that's part that's really good. Right there. Okay. TomAllen7110.
Tell them all about your CD. Tell them.
Okay, well, it's a CD of 25 Christmas carols. They're all the traditional ones, not any of the new ones. I think you hear enough of the new ones, and so I like these centuries-old ones. And
How much is it?
$10.
Only $10.
Well, my friend Jeremiah the Bullfrog told his protege in country music, sell them for $10. And then it's easy for everybody. So they're 10. Yeah, it's easy.
Okay, cool.
If you need me to mail to you, then you can add a couple bucks for shipping.
And it's all instrumental. right?
All instrumental, classical stuff.
You just
So-
send them the files.
Yeah.
Get a PayPal button, mister.
Okay, this is Angels from the Realms of Glory. Angels from the realms of glory. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. then yeah, I'm at 25. You want to hear another one, or are we done? We got to have somebody else's turn?
It's up to you. If you want to
Okay.
do another one, you can.
What a nice group up at the end, wasn't it?
All right. Please give it a round up for Tom. That was great. That was wonderful. She's a little bit the NSA game. That was funny. All right. So there's a thing. Jenny, what was the thing? The thing was if you like your creative thing and you want to hang out with more creative people, why not stop in at a CA meeting, which are held Wednesday nights, 7 o'clock at Churchill's. Woo!
But not next week or the following week.
Right, because the
Because of the
holidays,
holidays.
because everybody has a break in December. So.
And every third Wednesday we meet here for Collab Night.
Yes, exactly. So happy holidays to the CA. Because yeah, we won't meet then. So, all right. We also have some slots on our sheet if anybody wants to add to it and hang out. That's cool. And when we go through our sheet at the end, I mean, we have some musicians here. We have, some poets here. I mean, you guys, we can all have a jam session, a nice live spontaneous improv thing, and we can have a lot of fun together, and it can be one beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So why not give it a shot? In the meantime, let's give it up for Brian. Woo!
So we're putting together like a Kickstarter type thing. You guys know what a crowdfunding is? Basically where we go online and we set up this little thing and people donate a couple bucks or 10, 20, whatever to the cause, and then we kind of give that to the cause. Well, the cause is this. The cause is Ken and you guys and us, and we really want to keep this going for the next 2 years. So our goal is $1,200, basically 50 bucks a session, which is still not quite, I'm sure, even worth what the time is that he spends and the energy. But we got that goal. It's on GoFundMe. I'm going to post a link to it on the Facebook page for this event. Everybody on Facebook?
No.
Okay, so if you know about this from Facebook, go to the event later tonight. I'm going to have that up there. Even if you can post a few bucks, it all goes to a good cause. Obviously, we're going to keep it going for a couple more months. Our other host, Al, has posted a video that I'm about to put up on there. He really is just asking everybody for their support. And again, we really appreciate Ken and the Good Beans. We want to keep this going. So if you think it's worth your time, if you think it's worth a few bucks, go to the Facebook page, see the link to GoFundMe. It's called the Collab Night Sustainability Fund. Trying to raise 1,200 bucks.
By when?
Well, that's a good question. I want to raise it soon so we don't keep moving months forward when we should be paying Ken. So my goal is by February, but we're just going to keep doing it until we make good money, okay guys? So I'm going to post 10 bucks. If anyone else wants to post $1, anything helps. In the meantime, if you want to buy a coffee, I know Ken appreciates the business. And that's my announcement, so thanks a lot.
All right.
Okay. Well, this song was inspired by a little bit by Iowa. I have a number of you may or may not know that my girlfriend lives in Iowa. She lives in Carroll, Iowa, which is 680 miles west of here. And so I wrote this song as a result of that. And I performed it once or twice here. It's called Signal Tower. And that's based on a piece of imagery in the song. You're driving down the expressway, and there's really not a lot of stimuli if you're doing a lot of night driving, except lights, and you might see off in the distance a signal tower. And it might give you comfort. It might have something to do with the radio station you're listening to at that moment. It might have nothing to do with that. And this song is about a long distance drive that just happens to take place in December. Feel the miles melt away on this cold December night. Another truck pulls off the road in the lane to my right. In the distance, lights are blinking beyond a sleepy row of farms. Signal tower got me to thinking, would you please channel some Sam Cooke's charm? Signal tower, empower me, guide me through this blizzard's harm. Empower me, and in an hour she will be in my arms. Kindly black man on the radio leads me through this winter's mess. Otis Redding offers me advice. Try a little tenderness. Windshield wiper wages war with this unrepenting sleet. My foot is tapping on the floor to the unrelenting beat. Signal tower, empower me, guide me through this blizzard's harm. Empower me, and in an hour she will be in my arms. Feel the miles melt away on this cold December night. Another truck pulls off the floor in the lane to my right. Windshield wiper wages war with this unrepenting sleep. My foot is tapping on the floor to the unrelenting beat. Signal tower, empower me, guide me through this blizzard's harm. Empower me, in an hour she will be in Okay, for my last two songs, I think I'm going to go with something of a more dramatic theme, cinematic theme, not dramatic, cinematic. And gonna try it anyway. This is a song I've never performed out, and I wrote this song back in '92. So I wrote this 22 years ago, and it's written about a very unusual subject. And I say cinematic because a few years ago, not too many years ago, there was an actor named, I want to say Mickey Rourke. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Boxer? Oh, you're so close, Jenny. He was in a movie called The Wrestler.
Oh, Wrestler.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Oh, yeah, he was the wrestler. He had his forehead.
Yeah.
Never seen the movie, but this song is based on the life of a fellow by the name of Frank Goodish, or loosely based on.
I know Mick Foley. I talked with Mick Foley. He knew who I was.
Foley.
He looked me up on the internet and found out about my books. So I didn't know he knew.
Well, this is the guy who inspired Mick Foley.
I saw
But I'm not gonna, yeah, or loosely, whatever.
It was just on Steve Colbert.
And I've never played this song before, and I didn't really practice it that much, so hopefully we get through it. Okay?
Okay.
It's called, the title's called Get Me Over, Babyface. Here comes the promoter with a stale cigar roller, gonna send me on the payoff. I did the job for your out-of-shape slob. Can't you look me in the eyes when you cough? I took the bump, busted my hump. This ain't the spot, you fool. Don't jump, and man, can't you see what I mean? Put yourself in my place. I just wanna break away clean. Get me over, babyface. Well, I rose to the task, removed the hero's mask. Way down in Mexico, I danced with flying leapers, flying clotheslines and sleepers, as we sold out every show. Each town started quiet, ended in riot. If you think it's fake, get up here and try it. And man, can't you see what I mean? Put yourself in my place. I just wanna break away clean. Get me over, babyface. Well, my wife is my life, and I escaped from strife as I call her from my hotel. My son, he is 7, and my home it is heaven, but I'm self-exiled in hell. The miles of road, the aisles of load, the dues I paid and the payment I'm owed. And man, can't you see what I mean? Put yourself in my place. I just wanna break away clean. Get me over, babyface. Man, can't you see what I mean? Put yourself in my place. I just wanna break away clean. Put me over, babyface. Okay. Okay, sticking with the theme of cinematic. I hope this works out right. This is another song I have done here. But I guess there's a movie coming out based on a bunch of crap that I've actually never seen the sources of this movie. It's based on a musical, but it's coming out soon, called Into the Woods. And lo and behold, I've written a song called Into the Woods. I wrote this almost 28 years ago. That doesn't sound right. Can you take a little bit of the bass out of this? Okay. I'm swimming against the current. I'm swimming against the current. You tell me that you're leaving, I wish you weren't. Would you go into the woods with me? Would you go into the woods with me? Whisper and you break the spell. Whisper and you break the spell. Just breathe softly, now it'll serve you as a yell. And would you go into the woods with me? Would you go into the woods with me? From the grip of the night, tear me from the grip of the night. I have lost my way, I need you to set me right. And would you go into the woods with me? Would you go into the woods with me? Confusion, illusion or real. Confusion, illusion or real. Now I'm completely numb, I have no sense left to feel. Or would you go into the woods with me? Would you go into the woods with me? I'm running from the city's shadow. Running from the city's shadow. I only get inspired when you're outside my window. Would you go into the woods with me? Would you go into the woods with me? Gonna sleep beneath the open sky. I'm gonna sleep beneath the open sky. Gonna wake up at the campfire somewhere behind your eyes. Would you go into the woods with me? Would you go into the woods with me? Across the river there falls a tree. Across the river, a fallen tree. Cross over that bridge, you too can be free. And would you go into the woods with me? Would you go into the woods with me? Would you go into the woods with me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Woo! Yeah, that was great. Just a little bit cringy, but that was great.
We okay, Ken?
Yes.
I think so. I didn't need my glasses for that last one. Should have them off.
That was really good though. I like these guys.
You were right. That sounded really
Cool.
Please give it up for Brian! That was wonderful. Right. Oh, KPU. So Brian is wearing a really cool KPU t-shirt, which reminded me of Brian Bellows.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Well, he's not here.
Right. So since he's not here, if it's okay, I should be like, hey Ryan, we're all saying hello to you, and we hope you're well.
If you're out
so,
there.
Hi. Also, with that, we're gonna have some more music from Lee. So give it up for Lee.
My name's Lee. This is Chris. Chris is, I think Chris has backed me up one or two other times up here. He's great on the percussion. And he volunteered to sit in. We haven't, he may know one or two of these songs. We never worked together outside of here, but he's pretty much a natural percussionist. So he'll pick up on it. If there's something there, Chris will get it. I was here, I missed the last time. So it's been like 2 months. Came down here, and usually I'm doing old songs from my era, growing up in the 50s and 60s as a teenager. I grew up with the rock and roll and Johnny Cash, that kind of country. And I decided to update a little bit. Jenny may recall, and I said, I had heard this song on the radio riding around with my granddaughter who was here tonight. And there was kind of a younger demographic here, so I said, well, they certainly have heard this song. I'm not going to do the song again. I'll do a couple of bars. I doubt anybody here has heard it. But this just happened to be the #1 song in the country and was the #1 song for the entire summer.
Do it!
And no, nobody knew the song. There were young people out here. I'm not going to do the song, but this was the song. I'm all about that bass. No treble, all about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass. Yeah, my mama, she told me don't worry about your size. She said girls like a little more booty to hold at night. You know I ain't no stick figure silicone Barbie doll. So if that's what you're into, better just move along. Anyway, that's the song. At the end of the song, I asked people, you've heard that song, right? And everybody in agreement, no, I hadn't heard that song. I'm wondering, where are these people at, man? I don't listen to pop stations that much, but that thing was on every radio station, every TV station.
Recognized it immediately.
So the moral of this story is, I learned the #1 song in the country, and for that part, markets around the world. And I said, well, nobody knows the song. I might as well go back and do the kind of stuff that I do. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going backwards again. That was a good beat you were laying down on that, Chris.
Yeah.
I could have used you here the last time. So anyway, I go back to my roots, and Chris may have heard this song. This came out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. That recording phenomenon back in the late 60s, early 70s. The producer was Rick
Hall.
What is it?
Rick Hall.
Rick Hall. What a fantastic character. And this place was down in the cotton fields, away from everything. And he brought a couple of artists in there and had formed this band, which was spectacular. I mean, that was the secret to the success of the place, was the band. But anyway, this particular song was the first song that came out of the Muscle Shoals. And it was done by an artist named Jimmy Hughes. And let me see. It's called Steal Away. I bet Chris has heard this. I've got to see you somehow. Not tomorrow, but right now. Don't start thinking, trying to make up your mind. Your folks are sleeping, let's not waste any time. Oh, I know it's late, but I can't wait. Come on and steal away. Oh yeah, Chris. Yeah, talk to me. I've got to see you somehow. Not tomorrow, but right now. Oh, I know it's late, but I can't wait. Come on and steal away. Steal away. Steal away. The beginning of the Muscle Shoals treat they had in store for us. Aretha Franklin, I'm sure that Otis Redding doing his hot stuff down there. The Rolling Stones visited there and did an album. So this is a great place and very magical amount of success came out of that place.
Otis Redding was at Stax in Memphis.
Was he at Stax?
Yeah.
Okay. He was doing that same kind of music, of course, the rhythm and blues. But yeah, they had phenomenal success down there. So, okay. Here's one that's kind of in that vein. I've done this song here one other time. I try to do new songs every time, but sometimes I go through these songs at home and I say, yeah, I like that song so much, I'll just do it again. And it's called Suitcase, and it was done by an artist called Kev Moe. Are you familiar with him? Yeah, Kev Moe. He's bad, man. This is Suitcase, and sometimes the word suitcase is a metaphor can be used as a metaphor for the baggage that we carry personally, each of us in our lives. We all come with a certain amount of baggage, right? Sometimes your parents hand you a bunch of baggage, and sometimes you just collect it along the way. But that's what this song is about. I got a suitcase, take it everywhere I go. I got a suitcase, I take it everywhere I go. Just a big old bag of trouble. Trouble's all I know. I met a girl, fell in love. Oh, our love was true. I met a girl, fell in love. Oh, our love was true. things got too big. We were holding on to everything we ever said or did. When I complained about the salt and her black-eyed peas, she put her hands on her hips and told me to leave and take my suitcase. Get on out that door. You better hear from my lawyer. I can't take it no more. Anybody ever been there? Okay, let me see. I've been doing some Christmas songs where I go different places, but I don't know, we had some nice Christmas music here from the gentleman earlier, so I'm not sure I'm going to do that. Well, the weather turned cold on us again, I'm sure you noticed that, and made me think of a place a little warmer than this, which would be just about any place south of the state line, I guess. Blue Hawaii. Night and you and Blue Hawaii. And you are heaven to me. Lovely you and Blue Hawaii. With all its loveliness, there should be love. While the moon is on the sea, the night is young, and so are we. Dreams come true in Blue Hawaii, and mine could all come true. This magic night of nights with you.
Nadia.
Hi.
Yeah, get one more.
Okay, I will do a Christmas song because we are so close to Christmas, and I guess that's reason enough. This is a song that was I did this at Brian's open mic a few weeks ago. John Lennon wrote this song, so you probably already know what it is. Gets a lot of airplay even today, and rightly so. John Lennon appeared to be a peace-loving man, and what he got for that was being shot down on the streets of New York City for apparently no reason. And anyway, he wrote this song back during the time of the Vietnam War. And we've had many wars since then. We're still at war with people, and probably always will be. But John Lennon, of course, was a pacifist and was trying to get us to get out of Vietnam, which we ultimately did. But this song, people know it as called Happy Christmas, but the name of the title of the song was actually War Is Over. And that's wishful thinking. But anyway, it's a good song. Learning to play, always, after you move that cable, always check it. Need to start listening to myself, I guess. Or kick it off. Yeah, that's a nice groove, Chris. So this is Christmas. What have you done? Another year over, a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas. I hope you have fun. The new and the dear ones, the old and the young. A merry, merry Christmas. A happy new year. Let's hope it's a good one, without any fears. So this is Christmas, where we can for strong. The rich and the poor ones, the road is so long. So happy Christmas, for black and for white, for the yellow and red ones. Let's stop all the fights. Merry, Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one, without any fears. I want to take this time to wish each of you very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. God bless you. Alrighty, thanks for your time and attention. Unplugged? Okay.
You know that guy, he shot John Lennon because he was more popular than Jesus.
Oh, was that his reason? Yeah.
Because the Bible.
That was a misinterpreted statement.
Okay, what was the statement?
He was giving us a statement of fact as opposed to a put down of religion.
Oh wait, didn't they say one time we're as popular as Jesus Christ? That's what he said.
Yeah, that was,
and then the guy said.
Oh, that's right. The Beatles had said that when they came over to this country.
And he said that you can't do that, and that was one of his reasonings for killing, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was in an interview. Of course, John had a very constant sense of humor, right? And so his image got misinterpreted. It was first printed in the British press, didn't cause a stir because they were used to John.
Yeah. Over here, all the puritanical people we've got.
Then they got into it, we put it on a teen magazine, and the Bible Belt broke loose.
Oh, yeah. They were burning their albums and stuff.
Thanks so much, Chris.
George commented, they have to buy the records before they can burn them.
Oh, yes, yes.
Christmas.
All right, guys, give it up for Lee. And Chris, of course. So, here's down the family tree. Next up, we have Ashley. Hey, that rhymed. Give it up for Ashley. Woo! Applause. Let's give it up.
Okay, the first line I'm going to do is called Tim McGraw by Taylor Swift. Is when you think Tim McGraw. Hope you think my favorite song, the one we dance to all night long. The moonlight spotlight on the lake. When you think happiness, hope you think that little black dress. Think of my head on your chest, and my old faded blue jeans. When you think Tim McGraw, I hope you think of me, I think of me. He said the way in my blue eyes shine, put those Georgia stars to shame that night. I said that's a lie. Thank you. I'm gonna switch to the guitar now.
Is that capo right?
Well, I hope so. I'll be dead done with it, won't I?
We get a roadies up here to swap things out for her.
Set.
Hope you tuned it right for her.
You got it done?
No.
It's set at kind of an angle. There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, the next song I'm gonna do is called Welcome to My Life by Simple Plan. And then the last song I'm going to do is called Cold as the Night. Just your absence ringing in my ears.
Nick. So give it up for Nick.
Hey, if we have time, if people just want to come up, you know, that open jam thing, we could do that.
Right.
So after Nick, if people want to.
Right.
How's everybody feeling? So really what I'm here tonight for, in addition to enjoying all your lovely performances, is to plug this new job I got. I'm the poetry editor for the Qua. You know what the Qua is?
I'll give you a caption.
Maybe two of you do. The Qua is Flint's only literary and fine arts magazine. It's produced through U of M Flint, student run, it's free. They pay the money to get it published, and it's out there in the community. What they're trying to do, though, this time and the next couple, is to really expand the reach and expand kind of professionalism and just, you know, who in the community is submitting. And I've read a few of these, I've looked through, I haven't found any of your guys' names really. Maybe seen yours once or twice. But that's a problem for me, all right? So I want you guys to go to Qua Magazine. Now, Qua is a weird word, I know. I don't know what it means.
Let's all say it together, Qua.
Qua, but it's spelled Q-U-A. There'll be a test at the end, so get it right. QUAmagazine.com. That'll automatically take you to the blog, blah, 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 blah. And that'll let you know how to submit. It's through Submittable, which if you guys are poetry people, you know Submittable is pretty much where it's at. It's awesome, it's free. So what I figured I would do tonight is read some poetry that has been published in previous issues of the Qua, not to give you a sense of what they like, but just to give you a sense of what you can do with your own stuff. And then you have these cool little additions you can bring to the stage when you forget your poems. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually something that, if you've been here the last couple months, our regular host, Al, and let me just say, Nadia's doing a great job, isn't she, guys? Give her a round. I really appreciate her filling in and bringing the spirit and her energy to the stage. It's really what we need in this community, especially when it's cold out. But our normal host, Al, he took a few of these that I guess he found an issue of the Qua locally. Saw it, decided to put some music to them, and that's what he's been playing for you guys the last couple months. So,
and they're awesome.
And they're awesome, and Al is awesome, you guys are awesome. So I'm going to take the music element away, and I'm going to do more of a, how should I say, a verbal interpretation of his song. How's that? So, this first one's called All My Friends. All my friends are up to their eyeballs in tattoos. They all rock backpacks, even though some of them haven't been in school for a decade. Most ride bikes, or did, or would if it wasn't so cold 5 months a year. These friends are as comfortable crowded on a smoky sidewalk outside the bar as they are at the point on Island Street, overlooking the river's concrete banks as sunsets crash molten red into the paved-over brown fields. Ghostly whispers wander the old job site, carried on the breath of the wind, and we add our whiskey-slick exuberance and graffiti-tongued bliss to the mix like we're kids again. All my friends, or at least the ones I find worth keeping near, understand the appeal of a cheap house beside lot and a scraggly, sweat-built food forest that won't produce for 4 more lean years. If I don't say so myself, all my friends are cool cats or rude dogs or family freaks, hunting down enough loot to make a new start, or at least a partial payment and avoid the shut-off notices for another month. So, yeah. It's okay. We're here. It's been a long time since I've been up here, so I'll remind you guys, if you don't get it, if it doesn't feel like it's over, and if you don't care, don't clap. I don't like being humored. I like people that listen, and I like people that get it. And if you get it, I got it, and we're good. Alright? This next one also published in the Qua, which you too can publish. By the way, the deadline's February 2nd. And that's not just for poetry, that's for prose, that's creative nonfiction, that's fiction, that's fine art, some of these lovely paintings. Just send in your photographs. You know they got all color inside now. Can't find it in this issue, there it is. All color photographs, cool stuff like that. So it's really out there for anybody in the community. But anyways, this next one's in the Qua as well. And it's my hometown poem. Also a famous song that I'm gonna hear. Lawns plastered with signs fighting to be seen. For sale, for lease, rent to own, first month free. In my hometown, there's so many choices on which place to be. Just one life to live, i.e. to flee, but fortunately for me, there's no rush. The city cemeteries are lush and still blink neon lights reading vacancy. The car may have raised and razzed Buick City, but the irony is killing me. And all the basement Buddhists meditate on their bloom cycle lights, making bucks, growing kush, and thinking deeply about their own suffering. A generation of garbage pail kids born with broom in hand to clean up ancestral debris. Even though 8 people per day move away, even though 8 people per day give up and move away worry-free. They can't see anything left to save, just a broken tribe and an oil stain, and the sad part is they aren't far off. Staying here is more of a burden than a point of pride, or at least for the longest time, that's how things felt to me. Because despite whatever happy face I want to feign or injustice I could lock my door and ignore instead of stress to change, there's just not much still standing that deserves the praise. A few pillared rows of half-burnt gutless homes, chess piece investment groves played out in downtown revival zones, and a few well-hidden hornets' hives where gaunt artists thrive in a daze, haunting the flower fields of their minds. A little buzzed, they spun out poetic phrase, softly composing cracks of lightning that lead to thunderous refrains. Jaws rattling ferocious behind snake bite fangs. This is anti-venom spit, a mumbled rattle subwoofed into a wild howl, penetrating your unknown like lapping licks of an inner shiver craze. These impassioned kids make clunky claims to fame, even though no one will ever know their name. Lives comparable to an upshot drop of water from a sprinkler sputtering as background noise to the pouring rain. But magnets to metal, they're drawn near and have stayed, and I'll do the same. That is until the roof caves in, and my motivation dissipates as the smoke clears from throwing ink at expectations, tossing out poems like pin-pulled grenades.
Yeah.
You in the back with the glasses. What is the name of the magazine? That Qua. How do you spell it?
Q-U-A.
And how many poems are you going to submit? That is the wrong answer. Artwork. Beautiful. Beautiful. And you know, they're not snooty, you know, some of these literary magazines think, you know, if it's previously appeared on the internet or in print, you just can't have it in our stuff, we're just that exclusive. You know, we're not that exclusive. We want to give you guys some sort of credit, we want to put you out there, find you an audience, we want to help be that voice for you guys. So I'm really, really, really serious when I say turn your stuff in by
February 2nd.
Lainey's doing it. Are you guys doing it?
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog's Day, that's right. But you only get one chance this time, so be sure. It's a Bill Murray joke, it's okay. Alright, so this is the first thing I ever got published in a quad, and this was, you know, the first poem in the book, so I think this picture, like, really well establishes the theme of the whole issue, which was something punk and kind of visceral and vicious at the same time. And this was what I wrote in 2010. This is my letter to the arsonists. You guys remember we had all those arsons?
Yep, arson.
It was a bad time for all. So, this is my letter to them. Go ahead, burn it all. But count on nothing being changed but the ugly peeling paint and columns of smoke replacing pillared skyline shade. Everything seems more hopeless as arson artists chisel out a brand new mess from anger and unhappiness with molten memos filling demolition lists. That's hate mail self-addressed and signed with a gasoline kiss. If raised sane, ashamed of flaming inheritance. Fed up with sordid heroes, founders, and today all the same. Breaking all our basket eggs into brownfield stains and live grenades. No master planning in 50 years, but we're still all slaves while freedom flees play rat race cage. Our brick tides crashing waves drown hope of rehab haze. Everything's washed away but truth and rage. So frustrated people set ablaze, a prey to escape, swallowing pride with deep-seated hate. This circus city's clowns joke around with money and lie until it's lost, wasting time on run-down cogs in a 3-ring broken watch. Lately, though, I've come to blame idealized fame in a city stripped of wits by whips and encouraged to win a dropout race to bridge card slips. As descendants of factory fodder, we inherit mounds of shit, and at most, forgetfulness. Defeatists dealing with decades of loser rants and paid-off silences. But our future's not in flames, or at least not yet. Outsourcing's aim was to discredit social gains and pile people with debt. Now, there are 2 prevailing camps of thought for living here today. Either singe away sarcoma homes, know in their place nothing better will ever grow, or give up, burn a blunt, and don't worry about changing what you never cared to really know. This town is like a dentist's office, and gummy curbs house holes where homes were pulled to save box-toothed blocks on smiling lanes from roof decay and rotting away. Any second we could choose to change the game and refuse to play Firebomb Monopoly or pop off automatic trouble. But Fly City would rather tear itself down for room to breathe, or live some dumb fantasy than preserve its rich history of rubble. Thanks, my name's Nick Custer.
Yeah.
What's that magazine one more time? Wow, that's right, Nick Custer magazine. QuaMagazine.com. It'll take you to the right place. Submit by February 2nd. I hope to see all you guys in there. Thanks a lot.
Want to sing some Arab stuff?
I don't know, maybe.
Do it.
Maybe. Give it up for Nick. Okay. So that's it for our sign-up list, and now we have for the floor open to people who want to collaborate live and improv if you want, or you can just go out the door. So yeah, open jam. So I'm gonna open up a quick open jam by singing in Arabic. This is a classic song from a classical Arabic dude called Abd al-Halim Hafiz, and the tune is Sawa. So I'm gonna do what I can.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. It's just weird. It's like, cause it's okay.
وماشي في البلاد سوا والخطوة بيني وبين حبيبي برا مشوار بعيد ولا فيه غريب والليل يقرب والنهار هو سوا وماشي في البلاد سوا والخطوة بيني وبين حبيبي برا مشوار بعيد ولا فيه غريب واللي قرب والنهار هو إلا أكم حبيبي سلموا لي عليه إلا أكم حبيبي سلموا لي عليه طمنوني الأسمراني عملائي بالغربة فيه طمنوني الأسمراني عملائي بالغربة فيه طمنوني الأسمراني عملائي بالغربة فيه سوا ولا ماشي ليالي سوا ولا دار بحالي سوا من نور يا غالي سوا يهلي جرالي سوا ولا ماشي ليالي سوا ولا دار بحالي سوا من نور يا غالي سوا يهلي جرالي وسنين.
That's the first one.
Wow. What does the refrain you're singing, what does it mean? What does the refrain that you're singing mean?
Oh, it's a whole. It's a song he's addressing, like he's serenading this traveling woman that he's in love with, and
Okay.
I could find the translation.
I just
not
thought
very
maybe you
good
knew
with
what, you know, just the refrain that I kept hearing you say at the end. I was just curious what that was.
I'll find out.
Okay.
I'm happy to put
thought
that.
you knew
Come on,
that.
guys, it's open jam. There's an empty mic and it's calling your name and it's saying, please play me.
Somebody want to? Because if now we could leave early if somebody wants
You want to hear a story?
Yeah, we can get up there.
I don't know. Stories.
What's a story?
You do it like a rap.
Oh.
Do it to a beat. We can get somebody up there that knows the drums.
I don't know nothing about no instruments or nothing.
Oh, there's a drum set up here.
I'll play guitar behind you if you want.
There you go. Now it's a jam.
You want?
Someone's got to tell a story. I can be thankful for that.
Wait, you want guitar behind?
Kind of
Yeah.
good, isn't it?
That's all right.
No?
No. Because I have to practice that because then I have to get like the punches in there and you know how that goes. So I told y'all I'm working on this like storytelling idea. I'm really excited you're doing that. I'm trying to look at it as a craft because it's just what I do. I tell stories. So anyways, I thought that, I told y'all a story when I was about 4 years old and I stopped the jet airplane. And so I thought I would tell you another story that, I don't know, kind of gives you an insight to where I come from, I guess. I told you we were leaving Boston. This is the original thing with the airplane. And we were leaving Boston and I stopped the plane and then finally the plane took off. And we arrived in California, in Fullerton, Orange County. And I went to kindergarten out there. And prior to going out there, when we still lived in Boston, my mom had worked in the International House. It was this very large, big brick building over by Harvard, and had all that international students were there. And so I was very, very tiny, and my mom cooked for all these guys. And I went down the hall, and there was this gargantuan, huge wood door with these big, they looked like they were this big, like the doorknobs. They probably weren't that big, but to my little 4-year-old eyes, they were. And I put my hands on them, and I pulled as hard as I could, and I got this door open to tell all these guys that it was time for dinner. And they were in there, and as soon as I stepped in the door, I had a ping pong paddle in my face, and this Japanese man turned around and just yelled at me. And oh, I was so mad, because I'd just gone down there to like tell them it was time for dinner, and I got yelled at. So I stormed, I just turned on my heels, and I just stormed down the hall. And I walked into the kitchen, and I looked at my mother, and I said, "That Japanese man." Well, anyways, I just could not stand this man. Every time I saw him, I couldn't stand him, I couldn't stand him, I couldn't stand him. Well, apparently, he must have really liked my mother because he asked her out on a date. And so my mom, probably not good sense, decided to go on her very first date with this child that could not stand this man. And he had, I'm dating myself, it was in 1966. And he had a 1966 Delta 88. It was brand new. It was light blue, and it had white leather interior, and it was a convertible. And we went to Cape Cod and to Plymouth Rock. And this man that I could not stand bought me every single known sweet to mankind. And he filled me up with rock candy and cotton candy and drinks and just licorice. I just remember it was just like, if I looked at it, it was in my hands, and I ingested it, and I looked at it, and it was in my hands, and I ingested it, and this whole day went like that. And all of a sudden, he bought me this little bamboo rubber spear, and had feathers on it, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I love this little spear. And it was in that moment that I was like, okay, maybe this man's not so bad. I still didn't like him. I like my spear though. So we go through the day, but I'm nicer. And then we're driving back to Boston, and I'm laying in the back seat of this white leather interior car, watching the clouds. And all of a sudden, as a good little 4-year-old do, I just projectile puked right over the seat. Pink puke went everywhere all over this white leather interior. Yeah, and it was really amazing to me. I was like, wow, that's cool. I don't even remember my mom's reaction, nothing. I just remember the pink all over the white leather. So somewhere in there, we got back to Boston, and I was really sick. And we got out of the car, and this man that had bought me all this pink stuff and my little spear, he picked me up, and he carried my little limp, sick body in the house, and he laid me on the bed. Now, he is a doctor, So he went and got his bag, and I remember watching him open his little leather bag, and he took out his stethoscope. And as he leaned down to put it on me and listen to my little heart, I remember I saw stars around his face, and I think that was the first time I ever fell in love. I was just like, I love this man. This is really true. So anyways, I was just, oh, I love this man. So then we get on this plane, and I stopped it for my lollipops. Once I had my lollipops, plane took off. We all go to California. And this man is not there. How dare my mother take me away from this man? So I'm in kindergarten, and I am just sure that this man is going to come and find us. And so we were making Father's Day things in school, and I had a little card, and I put this little cloth tie together and put it on the card. And I had some clay, and I molded it into this cute little turtle. So cute. Anyways, all of a sudden, one day, this man showed up in California. It was in the summertime. It was around Father's Day. And I came up to him and I said, "You need to be my dad." And I gave him this card, and I gave him this little turtle. And you know, I think he loved me as much as I loved him, because he married my mom for me. It was so great. And so they get married, and then we moved to Minnesota. And so, anyways, that's kind of how my, my first love and how we got there. Now, we're going to zoom up to the future, and he works at Emory University in Atlanta, and I hadn't been there for years and years and years and years. And in 1992, how old would I have been? 30 years old, so this is like 25 years later. I happened to be there, and I went up to his office, and I looked, and on his desk was that little turtle. And I was like, oh my God, that's that turtle I made you in kindergarten. And he's like, I've had it on my desk ever since the day that you gave it to me.
Aww.
And that's the story.
Yeah.
The next morning, I slept like a log. I haven't slept that well for a long time. I've been a student, and everything. So I woke up, and it was 10 in the morning. The sun was way up overhead. So I said, hey, the day is underway. And that became a song which goes like this. Hey, the day is underway, why don't we go out and play? Hi, the sun is in the sky, everything's shaking, why don't I? Jay is calling, red is tripping, robin answers from a tree, porcupines are pumping, people, snakes are sliding, why don't we? Bugs are popping, bugs are hopping, nothing's stopping you and me. Baroque is blowing, wind is blowing, and I'm a-going out to sea. Hey, the day is underway, why don't we go out and play? Hi, the sun is in the sky, everything's shaking, why don't we? So I stretched and got out of my sleeping bag and had a great and wonderful day, and probably sat and meditated in that little teepee, and explored the place, and met the people who ran the campground. They said, "Hey, you're not supposed to come on here ahead of the campground season, So I got kind of bawled out for having such a good time, but that was all right. So then that was Monday, and so I figured, well, I better ride my bike back home. And so I got on my bike and rode along back there and found the road that leads up to the railroad bridge, and I went up there to the edge of the water, and guess what? The railroad bridge was a kind of a drawbridge thing, and it had swiveled around, so the entire bridge was parallel to the wall, to the banks, and there was like 50 yards of water before the pivot point where the bridge was in the middle of this thing, and open water from there to the other side as well. And it turned out that that was a railroad siding that went onto the bridge, and then they loaded it from the railroad cars onto the barges. And there were some barges waiting a little way upstream, and this guy was operating this, there was a little operator out in the bridge house of this, I don't know if you call it a drawbridge or a swivel bridge or whatever you call it. I couldn't get home. The Bloomington Ferry Bridge was all flooded. And the next thing was I-35, which was way the heck. And so I yelled out to him, "Hey! Are you gonna swivel that bridge back anytime soon?" And the voice came back, "No! It's gonna be this way all day." And I just sat there, my options were pretty slim, you know. And after a while he yelled it back, "Just a minute!" So he got on his radio and radioed upstream to the barge guys, you know. And then he put his phone down and said, "Okay!" So he swiveled this entire bridge, this railroad bridge, over for me and my bicycle. And this he goes grinding and clanking and stuff, and this big bridge comes back, he goes, locks into place. So I get back on my bike and go bump, 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 over the bridge to the other side, and I went home. But I felt wonderful about that. That was such a terrific adventure. You know, you never really know till you have an adventure what you're going to find. I think Gregory Bateson made this wise and pithy comment that it's the nature of exploring that the explorer doesn't know what they're exploring until they explore it. Something like that. And so it was a wonderful time, and I wish you many times like that in your life where little miracles happen and you have a wonderful time. Something you didn't expect happens and you almost get washed off the road in a flood. and you live to tell the tale. And so have a very wonderful Christmas and holiday season as the winter settles down on us, and we'll see you all next month. Bye.
Yeah. Bridge.
What?
I thought you were going to say you wrote a song about the bridge. You should.
Well, yeah, that
That'd be a
too.
great song.
Trouble.
Yeah, yeah. But it makes a good story, doesn't it?